Hello and welcome to another edition of Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
And we are here to give you this week's reading recommendations for New Comic Book Day. Yay! We're a shorter person, but worry not. There are so many good titles that we have a consensus pick, and Sarah also sent us her pick, so all kinds of goodies for you today. And let's get started. Fritz, what do you got?
So I have Superman number 5. We picked I think we at least did like the first issue of this current run, but like I don't know if we haven't mentioned before, the Superman books in general right now are really doing good. No exception here with the main title. We've got Superman facing off against Silver Banshee. That's like she's kind of like one of your more you'd call her like a classic villain at this point. She's been around long enough. Yeah. Yep. But like they got like there's a new kind of like wrinkle in the relationship, literally because it turns out she's been dating Jimmy Olsen for a while on the down low, which is a lot like you hear that and she's like, huh, that's kind of weird. But then like you read and she's like, oh no, they're actually really cute together. Like she calls him like Turtle Boy because of the whole him turning into a turtle thing. It's adorable, but it's really interesting because like obviously like Superman, he wants to like, even when he's like fighting his bad guys, he wants to like kind of like save them at the same time. Yeah. So like now him and Jimmy having to like work together to like try and like save her from herself, because if you've been reading this running thread, there's like these evil scientist dudes who are kind of like futzing with his like rogues gallery, like kind of like amping them up, making them more dangerous. Yep. And so they're doing that. They're trying to Superman team up with Lex Luthor, trying to figure out like why they're doing this, like what's the end game here. Which is a whole other interesting dynamic because, like I said, Superman wants to save people, but Luthor's always kind of just not wanting to be saved by him. Right. So it's just like, how far is Superman willing to go to save someone who doesn't want to be saved, who just kind of wants to be their worst version of themselves? And I don't know, it's been very cool to kind of like see the push and pull between them. Like Luthor gives him his company and like to like try and help him save people, and like it's helping, but it's also they still go about it in a very Luthor fashion, which Superman's not a fan of. And just the push and pull of just like what's right and what's wrong, like how do you actually like help people, is just been a really fun thing this book's been playing with. And on top of all that, it looks spectacular. Jamal Campbell, just everything they draw looks amazing. Like I was online last night. I was seeing people post like how they like their definitive versions of how characters look now, and I saw someone post some of his art Superman. Just like I can see it. Like when the way he draws Superman, he just looks like someone who like could give you just like the best bear hug. Oh sure, yeah. Yep. But like it looks great. There's as want to do with books I pick, there's a bit of a cliffhanger, which is like, oh no, what's going to happen next? Yeah. Like, it's not looking good for someone, I'll tell you that much. I was waiting for that part. Yeah. It's not looking good for somebody else. Yeah. But you will have to wait a bit because we've got Night Terrors coming up. The big like crossover thing DC's doing. Gonna have a bunch of their titles going on hold for like this more kind of like horror nightmare thing. Yeah, pseudo on hold, right? We're gonna get a couple interlude and issues. And a lot of them it's like the same creative teams just kind of like doing little side stories, and like a lot of them look super cool coming up. Is like, and Superman's gonna be no exception for that. Yep. So yeah, definitely check it out. Check out Night Terrors starting next month. And then when the main story kicks back in September, keep reading that too. But that's an ongoing thing. We've got a new thing here, Patrick. Yeah, so I went with a new book from Boom called Wild's End. Dan Abnett is writing this. Mm-hmm. Dan Abnett was part of the writing duo that did the Guardians of the Galaxy relaunch post the whole Annihilation Conquest, right? So, has written a number of things that I've really liked over the years, including that and some other stuff. He had a great Aquaman run a couple years back. Yep. So this is, anthropomorphic animal, cartoon kind of characters, right? Not in a cartoon world. Yeah. But from what I get, it's like a British coastal fishing village kind of is the setting. And you've got this aging fishing boat captain and a number of people who are vying to kind of
inherit the fishing boat, and then you've got you get a little bit of the background of the town, like, okay, this is a couple that's been dating for a number of years, but she's holding out to get married until, he can kind of prove that he's gonna, and there's the town reporter that you get to meet and a city council person and whatever. So it's a slice of life, but there is a mystery afoot in this. And the story kind of gets moving when they're getting ready to go out and do their fishing expedition, and the grandson of the captain of the boat is coming along, even though he's messed up everything that he's ever done. They say that he has a tendency to blow things up with cherry bombs and make a mess, and he's gotten fired from every other job that he's ever had. And so Grandpa's giving him kind of one last chance. This is his life preserver, and he's hoping that he can make it. But Grandpa's getting pretty senile, and the crew's getting worried about him. And then they're out in the middle of the ocean, and they lose their radio, and things, you start learning about some things that have kind of happened in the past, not to this crew in particular, but a past crew. And then, the mystery thickens. And by the end of it, it's full on, okay, this is some sort of bigger thing. Now, what's all behind this?
Something ooky spooky's happening.
Yeah, very, very much so. So, this isn't going to be for everybody, but I love that there are such a great number of comics to choose from now that are just not superhero in any way. I mean, this could just as easily be, drawn with just people in it and still be an amazing book. I think it's fun that it's done with characters that they've kind of got like a Wind in the Willows kind of
Frog and Toad.
Kind of vibe to them. But, comic books are not just capes and tights, although there's lots of that stuff that's really well done. And, I'll argue that that's just trappings around great stories and don't get hung up on that too much. But I think there are a lot of people that are just turned off by that in general, and they won't give comic books a go. And I think that this would be a really good read for somebody who's new.
Because like one of the things that because you were pitching it to me earlier, and I've already picked up a copy myself now. Thank you.
Yes,
see, it works.
Enjoy.
But one of the things that I really like with Abnett in particular is he's his character writing. He's so good at just having these kind of side characters that they'll have their little bits here and there, and then just flesh them out as they go. I mentioned before, his Aquaman run. One of the things that I really liked about it was how he just introduced all these new characters, and over time you growing to care about these people who in the lesser writer's hands you wouldn't. And I totally can see him taking this random fisher town and cobbling together this crew of misfits and making. I mean, that's basically what him and Lanning did with Guardians.
Right, exactly. And it's really funny because I feel like I know all these characters already. It's a relatively small cast, but at the same time, there's probably about 10 characters that I feel like I know pretty well. And in a single issue, that's pretty impressive, I think. But the art is super fun. And it's just kind of got that slow Hitchcockian kind of, from the get-go that something's not quite
there's tension.
Right. Yes.
And it's just a matter of what's going to be the breaking point for it.
But they're letting it just kind of slowly do its thing in the background while you've got this foreground story that's happening. All the while you're kind of how is nobody in the story feeling this yet? It's suspense. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So anyway, all right, well, on to our consensus pick. And anybody who's been reading any of the upcoming stuff, probably not going to be surprised by this. It's Incredible Hulk #1. This book is going to be massive.
Yeah, no, which is funny because Big Hulk.
Big Hulk, yeah.
Very big.
He's going to be a hulking success.
Dude is big in this.
He's back to ginormous, Ang Lee size.
Nick Klein, really, emphasizes, this is a big guy. Obviously, most Hulk artists do that, but, this feels like a mountain of a monster to the room with you.
Well, and I know that in one of the previews that I saw for it, they were really pushing that this is a horror book again.
Oh yeah,
we're going back to that Al Ewing Immortal Hulk horror concept. And one of the promotional pieces for this had the transition, and it is very Jekyll and Hyde-like and horrifying and awesome and great. And yes, you see this giant literally growing out of a human. The teeth and the eyeball got me. Yeah, they were so good.
Yeah,
the art is amazing. The story hooks you right from the get-go. It pulls all the best classic Hulk elements, and then we've got a new twist. Apparently, there's a bunch of I'm unfamiliar with. Like, these are all new baddies, right?
Yeah, like they're
unearthed even.
Yeah. Like, it's implied that they like have connections to existing monsters, but like that they are very much like their own thing with their own agenda.
Yeah,
but
and somehow tangent to the Green Door thing that was all introduced with that.
Well, and that's one of my favorite things about this. I was going to talk to you about beforehand, but kind of similar to like Jed McKay in Avengers right now, where like he's able to like have like this kind of fresh start that incorporates things from other characters' like own titles without like bogging down the reader and being like, oh, I don't know what's going on because I'm not reading Captain Marvel or I'm not reading Thor.
Yep.
This does a similar thing where like, and like the like intro thing kind of like, because with most Marvel comics, it lays out like, oh, here's kind of like the status quo. But like this one, it does such a good job of like letting you need to know what you need to know from Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk run and Donny Cates' Hulk run without like making you feel like you've missed something. Like the fact that, because like, I don't know, I think grew up in that, like we were like pretty lukewarm on Cates' Hulk run, but like the fact that this deals with the consequences of that in like a real meaningful way, like that. Like, that's the thing, like, it's, like, I get, like, some writers feel like they have to ignore runs they don't like, but I really like when they're just like, even if I didn't like this run, let's deal with, like, okay, what does it mean, though, to this character going forward?
Right.
Like, it's like, the relationship between Hulk and Banner has been, like, very damaged, and it's not going well for either of them because of it. And
Mark Waid does that frequently.
Yeah.
When he comes in to kind of take over a story after somebody's done something controversial or not real well received. But yeah, and the art again is just gorgeous. The storytelling is fantastic. This is going to be exceptional. Yeah. I'm so excited that it met all of my expectations.
And like I've been talking a lot recently with like how much I love Superman books, and even before like a lot of the recent ones, I've been loving Action Comics, which Philip Kennedy Johnson's been writing that. Yep. He's still writing that. And his work on here, like, it shows, like, how he can tackle these different genres. Because Superman's this very, like, uplifting, very, like, peak superhero vibe feel to it. Whereas it's just like, oh, this is just, like, terror after terror, horror after horror coming at you.
Yep. And they really do get that horror movie element down. There's a number of scenes that are just so...
Like, even just the way, like, characters will refer to things, like, the way the monsters will, like, talk about humans is so unsettling.
Yeah. Well, and, yeah, in the way that the panels are drawn, you can feel that sense of movement. So I was animating it in my mind, and it felt just like a good horror movie. But anyway, all right, well... I don't think that either of us have read yet Sarah's pick of the week, but she did make sure to tell us that I hate Fairyland. Oh gosh, I probably should have told all the viewers to sit down before we told them what Sarah's pick was going to be. Because if you know Sarah at all, she loves I Hate Fairyland. She told us specifically, I Hate Fairyland is my pick this week. It's number 6. So, yes, I Hate Fairyland, Sarah's pick.
And you'll love to hate Fairyland.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Such a good story.
However you want to phrase the sentence there, I guess. But yeah, sure. No, it's consistently a good seller for us. Like, everyone who does read it loves it.
Yes, absolutely. Not for kids. No,
definitely. Not for kids. No, don't let the very Muppety looking things on here fool you. Right. Not Muppets.
Yeah. Well, it is, again, a massive week of comic books. We really struggled to narrow everything down to our picks this week because there's so much. You talked about Avengers. This is the best Avengers book in forever. Yeah, it's been so good. Guardians was amazing. Titans is good.
For our older viewers, I I made the reference earlier that I'm pulling a Corey, and actually, originally I was going to pick a different book, but then pick Superman. I was going to pick Ultimate Invasion. Check that out.
Yep.
Marvel set up some cool new Ultimate Universe stuff.
Yeah, Jeff Lemire's got a new book called Tenement that was really creepy and good. That was on my short list for the pick of the week too. So much good stuff. Get down here and check it out. Be sure to follow, like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. If you can't make it into the store, check out the website, pulpcg.com, and you can shop online. And we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great week, everybody. Huh.